Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of EDU 600 Research Methods. We are now in week number 6 or module number 6. So take a deep breath. There's a lot going on in this course right now. This is always, to me, part of the course that we start getting. We're leaving qualitative. You're finishing your qualitative critique. We're going into quantitative, and then we get into mixed methods type research. So hang in there. There's a lot of materials the last week and the week before, and then in the upcoming probably 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe even 4 weeks. So just take it one step at a time. We will all get through this together. So in this week, we're really focusing in on how is data displayed. So we're going to be talking an awful lot with quantitative research about the data. We can also talk about this with qualitative, but in quantitative it's more finite. So we're entering the world of how do you visually talk about the data in a way that makes it accessible to people that are going to be reading it. Meaning, if you conduct research on COVID-19 outbreaks in each one of the states, you will probably write your report, if it's going to the general public, differently than if you would going to a bunch of your peers and or experts in the field. So what we're looking at this week is how do you look at data and how do you visually display it so people can understand it. So I'll give you a quick walkthrough of what we will be doing, and then I'll give you an example of the discussion post that I'd like you to take a look at. Okay. So take a look at this video. This is the overview video which you're looking at right now. It's a good place to start. So a couple of objectives for the week. Focus on the descriptive statistics. Now, this is the beginning. This is a common theme. We're going to be looking at this over the next 3 weeks. So if you did not take a look at some of the materials from last week, please jump back and take a look at that. Read chapter 6, 7, and then take a look at the videos. This one is it's from module 4. You might have taken a look at it already, but if you haven't, please take a look at it. This will refresh your memory about, what is the difference between descriptive statistics that we're going to be looking at this week, and also what's a type of statistics that we can infer from and then make generalizations from. But this week we're really focusing in on the data displays of information. There's an awful lot of material in here, including videos. I'd like you to start with taking a look at quantitative analysis, visual displays, part 1 and part 2. These are expertly produced by the textbook author Jeff Beaudry. Jeff has put these together. I can't say enough about Jeff's work, the way he explains these ideas, so I use these all the time in the class, so please take a look at those. And then I included a whole bunch of data sets in here that you can take a look at, that I would like you to use one of these sources, or if there's another source that you use quite a bit at work. It could be that you're an adult ed director, you're whatever your field might be, you might already use something that you can use to answer the discussion post. So in here, there's a tremendous amount of information and visual displays of data. Now, right here, this is Origins of Citizens by State over the last 100 of years. Click on this link and it's going to take you to an article. It's going to take you to the visual displays that were in the New York Times. I find this information so fascinating, and I also think, what would this be like if I was staring at a chart full of numbers? To the math major or math majors that we have in the course, you might find that very interesting. But for me, I like to see a visual of it, and that explains so much. And I'll come back to this, and we will actually take a look at the New York Times information. Each one of these links goes to, some of you might be familiar with the National Center for Educational Statistics right here. Tremendous amount of information in there has to do with what's going on your state and nationally. So also this Gapminder. Take a look at that. So I'd like you to participate in the week 6 discussion forums, which is really on the data analysis and visual displays. So what I'd like you to do is select one example of data report or data representation and answer the following question. So in a nutshell, come up here, find a source, but you also might be interested in something else that you can find a data source very easily from. So I'd like you in the discussion post, summarize the data source. What are the variables? Who's being measured? And what kind of variables are they? And what kind of data do you use in your work? And please, like always, I'd like you to take a look at and post. Do your original post if possible by Wednesday, and then by Sunday if you can comment on 2 other people, and that's really what I'm looking for. I also put some additional videos in here on kind of certain types of visual displays, bar charts, pie charts, histograms, stem plots, time plots. It's about 7 minutes in length, and I also wanted to set the stage for statistics. Introduction to statistics. We have the descriptive, which we were studying last week, and we will continue to study, but then we have the type that you're going to infer based upon a sample size what the entire population is like. So down here, here's the discussion post, and I also wanted to put down here, we do have a visual display assignment coming up on March 14th. Now, this isn't due this week. This is due in a couple of weeks, and really what it is, it's a continuation of what we're starting this week. Now, you're not going to be using the same source, although you might decide to, but you take a look at the videos that are included in this week, and then select one example of a data report or representation and follow the questions in at least 3 paragraphs. Now, I do want you to basically find a different source that's coming up, not the same one that you're using this week, and basically do the same thing that you're going to be doing in a informal discussion post this week. So I'll talk about this a little bit further. At this point, I'm going to keep the assignment in there, really based upon our work this week. I won't say that I am going to make this, I'm going to delete this assignment, but there's that possibility, and a lot depends on how things go this week. So you don't need to do anything here. This is just a preview of what, let's say at this point, it will be due on March 14th, but sorry for confusing it. But as you can see, I'm really debating adding something to the list of everything that's going on right now. That's my reluctance. So let's see how this thing goes. Don't need to do anything with the formal assignment. This is a minor assignment. It's worth 10 points. And like I said, based upon everybody's work this week, I may actually assign points and give people 10 points if they participate fully in this week's discussion posts. So that is it. So I want to come back to the visual displays. One of the links goes to the New York Times. So I'm going to switch gears here. Okay, so here's one of the things that, one of the charts that you're going to, one of the visual displays of data. So really, as you can see from this, and let's just take a moment to glance. We have down here along the axis, we've the year 1900, now we have 2012. 2012. Over here, we have the percentage of people. So I'll show you how to read this. Come right over here, we can move the line around. In 1900, 81% of Mainers were born that are living in Maine were born in Maine. And you can see more information. You click on down below here. In 1900, 1% of Mainers were born in New Hampshire. So curious at this point, I'm saying, okay, what are we measuring? Well, first of all, we're measuring the population, who was actually born in Maine by year. So in 1900, 81% of Mainers living in Maine were born in Maine. I'm going to move this down. Now we're in 2012. So in 2012, 66% of Mainers were born in Maine. Back in 1900, 81%. How about born in Massachusetts? So back in 1900, 2%. 2% of Maine's population was born in Massachusetts. Going to go down to 2012. 8% of Mainers were born in Massachusetts. So you can see each one of these categories is telling us a story. We have New Hampshire, New York, born in other states in the Northeast, born in the Midwest, born in the South, born in the West, and born outside of the U.S. So from here, you can be a student of history and you can start looking at these and say, why in 1910 were 16% of Mainers born outside of the United States? Well, it has to do with immigration all the way forward. So it's interactive. It's easy to understand. You can actually look at this. If you're from Massachusetts, you live in some other state, there are there are similar visual displays of data for every state in the country. So this is just one example. So you would be talking about this data source and this visual display in your discussion post. I'd like you to just mention in the discussion post what visual display you're using. You can put the link. That would be fine. So just so we all know what you're looking at. And then if somebody's interested, they can follow that link and get to the information. So that is about it this week. There's a lot of materials, and just take your time with that. If you have any questions as we move forward, please shoot me an email. I'm happy to do a Zoom. We'll do a telephone call, whatever you want to do. I am here to help. Any questions, fire away, and I'll see everybody online. Thank you for the great effort, and keep up the good work. I know it's a lot, but we will get through it. Thank you.